Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining my presentation. My name is Nikki Patten, and today I am excited to share with you my research project, Bridging the Gap, Examining Access and Equity in Dual Enrollment Programs at American Community Colleges. In my presentation, we'll explore four main areas. First, what is dual enrollment and why it matters? Second, who's being left out and the systematic barriers in place. Third, the equity-focused solutions that can really make a difference. And finally, what all of this means for us in higher education. This project is deeply personal to me, as you'll see. It's grounded in research and real experiences with my students. I hope at the end you'll have a clearer view of dual enrollment and a better sense of how we can all help create a more equitable educational opportunity. So, let us begin with an introduction to dual enrollment. Dual enrollment programs allow high school students to enroll in college-level courses to earn credits before graduating. Students being enrolled in these programs are way more common than I expected. As you can see, Aspen Institute reports that 1.4 million students were enrolled in these programs in 2020. And honestly, I hadn't thought much about dual enrollment until a student's mom asked me if I knew anything about them. Her son, Elijah, had just been identified as on the autism spectrum and highly gifted in math and reading. After years of searching for ways to support his learning, she was finally finding some clarity, and I had no way of helping her. That moment stayed with me. It made me realize how important it is to understand and advocate for the access to these opportunities. And I feel like if you think about the young people in your lives, whether they're your students or family, you've got someone who could benefit from knowing more about dual enrollment programs too. Dual enrollment programs can provide a lot of benefits to students. Some of these include helping students experience the rigor of a college course, reaching students who have backgrounds that haven't historically been included in higher education. And these programs tend to provide pathways for students to go on to college to earn their degrees. Now, let's look into some equity gaps in access to dual enrollment. According to a great resource, the Aspen Institute and Community College Research Center, Black, Latinx, disabled, low-income, and first-generation students are often excluded from dual enrollment programs. But students from high-income families are 3 to 4 times more likely to participate. Why? Well, because of barriers like tuition, textbook costs, and even transportation. All of those things cost money. Many students and families don't even know that these programs exist, and that's why designing equitable programs that remove or subsidize these costs is important. These equity gaps aren't about whether the student is able to succeed in these programs. They're often about design. Students with family support, prior exposure to college, and school-based resources are more likely to enroll. For others, the process is confusing and often unsupported, especially in underfunded schools without dedicated advisors. Students like my Elijah are brilliant, but without clear pathways, they may never see college as a possibility. Too often, these students are left out because of the systematic barriers they stand in their way. Dual enrollment shouldn't be just for the well-supported. It should be designed to find and uplift the students like Elijah and those who don't have someone like Elijah's mom speaking out on their behalf. Moving on to equity-focused solutions and best practices. So, the Aspen Institute has come up with 5 metrics that we can put into action to help get underserved students into these programs. First, we need to create the programs with a shared vision. There needs to be commitment on both the high school side and the college side to support these students. We also need expanded access. Like an automatic enrollment, or people have to intentionally opt out. Advising. So we need to have advisors who are looking for these students to place into these programs to lift them up. Instruction. We need to make sure that faculty is trained in providing that rigorous college level course, but with a high school student in mind. And finally, leadership teams. We need to make sure that the high school and the college and the parents and the admin, they're all together and working together on this leadership team. And also, ASU is a great example of a large institution putting these equity metrics into practice. Through their initiatives like Accelerate ASU and the ASU Prep Academy, they're already offering flexible, low-cost pathways to help high school students, including those from non-traditional or under-resourced schools. They're helping them get a head start in college. When high schools and colleges collaborate and align their goals, their language, and their structures, students are more likely to benefit from dual enrollment programs. These partnerships are essential for equity because they provide clarity and consistency and support students through the systems. Flexibility can open doors. Programs like the Career Ladders Project rethink the traditional college path to support students who are also working or caring for family members or need extra support. One of the siblings of some of my tutoring students is enrolled in Smarter by One Degree. It's a program, an online program where she can earn her high school diploma and college credits while working and helping to care for siblings. She's building a future despite having very real life challenges. We know that life is not easy, and those students who are relied on by their families, they still need these opportunities. They really need these opportunities. Opening the door is one thing, but we also have to usher students in and help them stay. Support systems must be proactive, culturally responsive, and accessible to students who have historically been excluded from higher education. Finally, why this matters for higher education professionals like us. At every touch point a student has with college, whether it's a counselor, a professor, or even just support staff, that can either open a door or make it harder for them to walk through. Since we care deeply about the outcomes, we must also care about the systems that facilitate them. No matter how much we care for our students and want to open academic doors for them, inequitable systems still block their access. That's why policy matters. From admissions requirements to course availability, equity shows up in how we structure access. You don't have to be a leader of a program to help students make connections to dual enrollment opportunities. You just need to be informed and willing to speak up when something doesn't work for all students. Dual enrollment programs can change lives, but only when we commit to equity, consistency, and work collaboratively and intentionally. Students with the most to gain are often the least likely to be included. Equity isn't just a great idea, it's a practice. It must live in our policies and our personal interactions. And finally, I have a couple questions for you to consider as you go. 1, who is still missing from the conversation about dual enrollment? How can I, in whichever role I hold, make dual enrollment more equitable and accessible for students who need it the most? And finally, what dual enrollment opportunities currently exist in your institution and who is accessing them? Well, you keep thinking on that, and I'll say thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you have a great night or day, whenever you're watching this.